Sentire Media.
Welcome to the Stop Italian Sounding podcast, uncovering authentic Italian food. I'm your host, Robert Campana, and join me as we delve into the rich heritage of genuine Italian food, exploring its legends, history, and traditions. Through important tips and insightful interviews with industry professionals, you'll gain a deeper understanding of authentic Italian food. Welcome back, everyone, to the Stop Italian Sounding show, uncovering authentic Italian food. So, for today's show, I'm going to share with you two quick chats that I had at the Filitalia International Convention that I was invited to. Filitalia International is a nonprofit organization that was founded in 1987 to promote and preserve Italian heritage, language, and culture. And of course, food is a huge part of that culture. Its mission is to protect and advance Italian traditions through educational and cultural initiatives. And programs include scholarships for youth, Italian language classes, and networking events, along with other cultural experiences. It's an entirely volunteer-driven organization, and it now has 27 chapters across 5 countries and continues to grow. The name Filitalia actually literally means love for Italy, reflecting its core commitment to celebrating and sustaining Italian identity worldwide. So, like I said, I had 2 chats, and my first chat that I had is with the president of Filitalia International, Saverio Nestico. Okay, I'm here with Saverio Nestico, president of Filitalia International. Thank you for inviting me to this great event. I appreciate it.
Grazie, Roberto, for coming and being a part of this and being exposed to an organization that maybe you weren't as familiar with before. So yes. We thank you. Grazie.
No, I appreciate it. So, I mean, it seems great to celebrate our Italian heritage or Italian-American heritage. I mean, there's so many things that represent our identity as Italian-Americans, but as Italians in general. And one of them is definitely food.
Sure.
So how has food really played an important role in your life, and how does it continue to play a role in the lives of your members?
I have goosebumps, really, and I'll tell you why. Because first thing I think of when I think of food is my mother, right?
Right, of course.
So up until this day, every day, I'm mangiasti. Every day she'll call me, I'm mangiasti. And then my wife calls me, did you eat? Yeah. She'll say it in Greek.
It's not a bad thing, it's okay, it's a good thing.
And then when I go home, my mother-in-law will be there, and she'll ask me that I eat as well. So food is, in our cultures, European cultures specifically, are play a crucial part, because it's where business is conducted around the table, right? It's where you bond with people.
That's right.
Whether it's good or bad, you're always breaking bread, spezzare panna, right?
Of course.
It's played a tremendous part of our culture. Heritage-wise and tradition-wise, my family comes from Calabria. My parents are from a town called Isca sul Ionio, la provincia di Catanzaro.
Okay, I was just going to ask you, Calabrese, you said mangiasti.
So we carry on those traditions, like homemade soprasate, capogole, the wine. So we do all those exercises, even though they may not be as prevalent today because of dietary reasons, right? People don't eat that stuff as much, but we do it because A, we love it, B, it's a tradition.
Right, of course.
So you can go buy the soprasate, you can go buy all this food, but making it is a different atmosphere.
Of course.
Bringing the family together, screaming and arguing.
And I think that's what it's about. It's about the togetherness as well. I mean, what's the sense of having good food, good products, if you're doing it by yourself?
Absolutely.
And that's one of the crucial elements is family and that sense of community,
And that's what we're building here at Filitalia. We want to make sure that it's a family relationship. When we spoke the first time, I talked to you about our humble beginnings, and they're still very true to us today because of our roots. So that's extremely valuable for us as family, no doubt.
Right. So what are other things that Filitalia is engaged in?
Yeah, so international organization, home-based in South Philadelphia. It's where our international headquarters is. We have our mission is to promote, preserve, and protect the Italian language and culture with service to others, and we do that through many, many initiatives. Our Italian Immigration Museum, one of a kind on the East Coast in South Philadelphia. Our language classes, online and in person. Our scholarship programs. We've given out over $1.7 million since 1987.
Wow, good for you. Well, good for the organization. That's great.
Unbelievable amount of work that we've put into preserving the culture through language.
Right.
And that's really
and that's very important, because a lot of times Italian Americans don't speak Italian at all, and through learning the language, you open up the door to the entire cultural identity of Italy. And it's just so important to continue those traditions. So you have, I guess, partnerships or collaborations with schools, or do you
specifically teach Italian through your location?
So we have it two ways. One is that we definitely teach language classes within our organization, and then we are also one of 6 organizations in the country that is considered an ente promotora from the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Gotcha.
We have 7 states that we cover under the jurisdiction of the Council of Philadelphia.
Okay.
We cover 7 states. We have 40 schools that we help give out grants to their education program to help advance it. That's over 5,000 students and over 5,000 families as well that are introduced to the language.
We're definitely going to have to get food education in those programs as well, because it's so important to understand. Like, food is part of the cultural identity. I mean, you're from Calabria. There's so many things that Calabria is known for when it comes to food. So we definitely have to get food education in there as well, because everybody likes to learn the language through tasting the product.
That is an incredible. It's an easy way, and you solve 2 problems. One is learning the language and filling your belly. Right?
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Absolutely. Yes. Very good. So, what are some things from Calabria, for example, that you are particularly linked to, whether it's food or whether it's anything specifically?
Soprasata Segura, definitely.
Certamente soprasata.
Induja is a very popular.
I
love Induja as well. Come si chiama? You were doing it the other day on your social media page.
The Rosa Marina.
Rosa Marina.
Yeah,
Rosa Marina. I love
Rosa Marina.
Good.
Yeah, most people
ask
don't know
my wife.
But
I use it all the time about Rosa Marina.
Absolutely.
So it's obviously
that's very addicting.
Unbelievable.
I'll be cooking and I'll put some on a little bruschetta and I'm like, I filled the whole jar over. I got to go get another jar.
No, of course, but pasta. So food brings so many of us together, and the language kind of closes that knit.
It does.
So that's important for all of us as well. And when you see more about this organization, this is just a glimpse into the organization. But if you take an opportunity to come around more, you'll feel that home, humble feeling that you would feel if you go to Calabria, if you go to any region of Italy.
That's very important. That's you want to feel like you're part of something. So
yes.
That's
yes,
great.
We are much bigger. We are all bigger, all part of a bigger thing here.
Absolutely.
We are standing on the shoulders of giants that have preceded me, only being involved in the organization for about 12 years. It's a 37-year-old organization that's on the bottom floor of a skyscraper right now. So,
right. Well, I mean, it's going to work its way up.
No doubt. No, absolutely.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Grande piacere, bello. Grazie.
Grazie.
Okay, so there you have it, my chat with Saverio. And I have to say, a very down-to-earth guy who is clearly passionate about promoting and preserving the Italian heritage, which leads me to my thought. Any Italian Americans, especially the young Italian Americans that are listening, or Italians born in Italy, it is extremely important to get involved because without your voice, stories, and participation, the rich heritage that we have risks fading away. So organizations like Filitalia International only thrive when people like you step up, of course, to carry the torch, whether it's through things like language learning or language teaching, food, tradition, or just community. Being involved doesn't just preserve the past. It really shapes the future of what it means to be Italian in America, or basically in the world today. Anyway, while I was at the event, I also had the chance to meet someone who also hosts a podcast. So I said, why not ask her to do an interview? So she said yes, and I found out that she too is also into food. Okay, so I'm here with Maria Liberati. She is the host of the Maria Liberati Show. It's a podcast show found on all streaming platforms out there. And it's great. We kind of just ran into each other randomly here at the Filitalia International Convention, and we decided to sit down and talk to each other. So Maria, could you just take a minute and explain who you are and what got you to this point?
Sure. Let's see. I began... I lived in Italy for about 20 years at my family's vineyard, and I actually found myself in Italy because I was modeling and ended up studying my family's roots and ended up just falling in love with the food in Italy. How can you not? And I ended up working a little bit at my family's vineyard and learning, how to produce the wines and the cheeses and the breads they produce. This is in the mountains of Abruzzo. And then I ended up studying the culinary arts in Italy and decided, because I was actually writing for different magazines before. When I was modeling, I was writing topics on beauty and natural skincare. So I decided to write a book on cooking, but I didn't want it to be a recipe book. I feel that Italian food is so related to art and culture and history. And if you take that away from that, it just loses something. So I wanted the books to have not only the recipes but stories that relate to the recipes and the history or the region or the feeling. So that's what my books have, stories in them. They're not just cookbooks. They actually have stories.
And that's what it's all about, is the stories behind each recipe, each food.
Exactly.
Just out of curiosity, where did you study? You said you studied the culinary arts?
It's called the Chef School in Umbria.
Umbria.
Okay. The Chef Academy. I'm sorry. The Chef Academy.
In Umbria, the green heart of Italy, they call it.
Yes, exactly, in Umbria. But I also studied with a lot of other chefs in other trattorias around Italy, in Tuscany, in Abruzzo. I spent some time with a lot of different chefs while I was there. I was fortunate to do that. Right. So I kind of expanded that. Then I started doing cooking and wine tastings at a lot of the resorts throughout Italy, mostly in Tuscany and Umbria, a few in Umbria. But it was just amazing.
And just the diversity from region to region within Italy is just incredible.
It is incredible.
And these are the stories, like you mentioned before, that we're trying to tell.
Yes.
When it comes to again, the regionality of Italian food
Italian
products.
Food, yes.
So what is the books that you have written, food-related books, or even books in general?
Yes.
What are they called?
Well, I picked the title, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, as my main title because I just thought Italian cooking was basic, but it's just an art. So I wanted it to relay that. You know, French cooking is very complicated. So I'm like, well, that's what makes Italian cooking so special. It's an art, but it's very basic. If you remember, you only have a few. You know, each recipe only uses a few ingredients, but they're really good quality ingredients. So, but anyway, yes, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, and then each book has a subtitle. So far I have The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, which is the main one, the first one that I did, then The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, Holidays and Special Occasions, it is all about the holidays, like in the winter through like from Vigilia, Christmas Eve, to Carnevale. Mm-hmm. And then the last one I did, well actually second to the last one, is called The Basic Art of Italian Cooking Da Vinci Style, because in Italy I started researching Da Vinci, who actually most people don't know he was a foodie. He was quite the foodie.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Oh yes.
Oh, well, now you have to tell me a little about that. That's interesting.
Yes. Da Vinci, first he worked in a restaurant on Ponte Vecchio when he was going to art school in Florence. And what happened was the chef died that night because of food poisoning.
Oh, God.
And they forced him to be the chef.
Oh.
So he ended up being the chef.
So he did everything in his day, food included.
Yes. But, he also invented the rotisserie, the olive oil press, the knives and forks and stuff that we use. He was kind of the first Martha Stewart of his day because he's the first one that came up with coordinating table linens.
Right.
And he also did plan out weddings. He did like zillions of things.
Wow.
So anyway, I started studying that, and I did a book which I really want to do a follow-up because I found out so much more. But I did a book that it's got 10 chapters. Each chapter is dedicated to a place where Da Vinci lived and what he was commissioned to do when he was in that place.
Very cool.
But he did have his own restaurant with, and I cannot think of the name of the very famous artist that he studied with in Florence, on Ponte Vecchio, that it flopped because at that time they were serving nouveau cuisine. They wanted to make the plates beautiful, but everybody else was just plopping the food on that plate, and their menus were drawn artistically, and people just didn't get it.
They should bring that back.
Yes, definitely.
That would
now
be fun.
It's timely. But anyway, so if you go online, you can research some of that stuff. So
cool.
Interesting.
Wow. Well,
it is.
I learned something new today. That's fantastic.
Yes. Yeah,
Awesome.
A lot of people don't know about that. And I interviewed a guy, I can't think of his name, but he wrote a book specifically on that about, Da Vinci having a restaurant and all that. You could probably find it online.
Right,
yes,
of course,
I did it a couple years ago.
I'm going to have to do a deep dive later tonight, when
it's just so interesting. It was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. He did this also.
Cool.
Yeah, really cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's my third book. And the last book is The Basic Art of Italian Cooking. Diaries, because what I did was I wrote that during the pandemic. I couldn't go back to Italy during the pandemic, so I took all the diary journals and I put them together into a book. So
it's funny how a lot of these things were born during the pandemic, like the book you just mentioned.
My podcast was
was yours? Oh yeah, mine as well was born during that. Well, not the
pandemic.
not the podcast, but the Instagram page and the whole business of Stop Italian Sounding. My main mission of educating the world of between Italian and Italian sounding food products.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, such a horrific event such as COVID, then positive things were born.
Exactly, lots of positivity came out of it.
Right,
yes,
that's how you have to look at it. So.
Exactly, yes, you do.
So taking a second about your podcast, the Maria Liberati Show, what exactly do you speak about on that podcast?
Well, I started out obviously doing food because that's where I kind of came from, and I started expanding because, as I mentioned in my books, I wanted to also incorporate art and culture and history, and so I do a variety of topics. I call it now more like a lifestyle show. So we do art. I've had some celebrities on. I don't know if you know who Patrizio Buone is. He was on PBS. He's an Italian singer.
Okay.
He's actually from. He's originally from Naples, but he moved to, I forget where, if it's Germany with his parents, but he sings all in Italian.
Very
so
nice.
He was on my show. So I have singers sometimes. Authors. We do topics on home design, interior design, as well as food, because I still do
everything, however, with an Italian spin.
Yes, a little with an Italian spin.
Okay.
Not all the time. Kind of more relating to lifestyle. I've even done things on pets. I've done things for on veterans topics on that. So a lot of times I try to put an Italian spin on it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, when necessary. You don't want it to be forced. And,
exactly.
And I guess speaking of Italian spin, fate brought us together here at the Filitalia International Convention, where they honor the Italian heritage, the Italian American heritage.
Exactly.
So my last question for you is, how important is it to pass down these traditions, this mindset of Italianness or Italianità to the future generations, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it's really, really important. I feel I've talked to many of the people I've talked to here said that was the reason that Filitalia was started, because it's being unfortunately not passed down generation to generation. So even in my family, I speak Italian, my brother does, but some of the other family members didn't really get into it as much. So their family members, aren't. So we're hoping to, pass the language and the culture down. It's just so important. People don't realize it's just really, really important to kind of know where you came from.
Right.
And I just remember the first time I was in Italy, I was like, oh, now I understand, right?
It's like I always relate to a tree. A tree without any roots is a dying tree.
I just didn't understand why my grandparents did certain things, why my grandfather would go to sleep after his meal, or why they would do certain things. And after being there, I just was like, wow, now I understand.
It's eye-opening.
Yes.
It's totally eye-opening.
It is very important if you can experience it, if you have any Italian roots. It is. It's really eye-opening. It really expands. It's hard to explain, right?
It is. It changes your life. I mean, I know it's changed my life. I go back now every year, but the first time I was there, I'm like, wow, this is where I came from. This is my home, the motherland,
Exactly.
So I view things totally differently. I view the world through a different set of eyes.
Exactly. But it's very, very important to try to pass that down. And even if they can't speak, you're not going to speak Italian fluently, just make an attempt to try and learn some of it.
Right.
And
well, the language aspects is a very important aspect.
It is. It really
because through the language, then you learn the culture, which is food or any lifestyle habits as well, like you were just talking about.
Yeah, that's the one thing I love about knowing Italian. I was able to understand like opera more and art and the Italian history.
Right.
Exactly. If you don't understand it, it's a little bit different. If
more
you
complex.
do, it's wonderful because you can appreciate so much more.
And that's one good thing that Filitalia is doing. Is trying to teach the language to its members and to the public in general. So I really commend them for that. But
definitely, I do too. Yes, I think that's wonderful. And I know you teach Italian.
Yes, I am a high school teacher.
Yes, so happy to hear that there is some high school that offers
Italian. is a very studied language, a strong program, and we're proud of it. So
that's great.
Anyway, Maria, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate. I'm glad that we met and we're able to have this conversation.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there you go. I hope you enjoyed this different show format today that, of course, wasn't my typical interviews that I have done in the past. The intent of today's show, of course, was to highlight the importance of involvement, especially getting involved in your community, your Italian-American community, your Italian community, and promoting your heritage, because, again, a tree without roots is a dying tree, and we don't want our tree to die. We want that to continue living on.
Thank you for joining me on this journey through the stories of authentic Italian cuisine. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast for more insights and interviews. Also, feel free to reach out with your thoughts or questions on our social media channels at Stop Italian Sounding or on our website, stopitasounding.com. Grazie a tutti e alla prossima.
Sentire Media.
Hey, podcast producers and show hosts. Do you want to join a podcast network that celebrates all things Italian? At Sentire Media, we understand the allure of Italy and its unique culture. Our devoted team of hosts and producers are all driven by their shared passion for Italy. And we work tirelessly to create the best lifestyle podcasts and content that will whisk you away to the very heart of Italy. With us, you can savor the mouth-watering flavors, get lost in the stories from the past, break down the cultural barriers, and truly immerse yourself in the vibrant traditions of this intoxicating country. If you have a great podcast idea or are already in production and would like to join Sentire Media, head over to sentiremedia.com, that's SENTIRE media.com, and find out how to submit your show.